Daniel, I guess you'll start by introducing yourself.
My name is Daniel Grant. I work at Next Level Group as an HR consultant. I also do kind of a variety of different things, whether it's with recruiting, but my education is in the HR side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Darlene?
I'm Darlene Howell, so I do the bookkeeping for Next Level Group and also for East Coast Accounting. I do the mobile service and that for their clients.
Perfect. And I'm Angela Boy, the president of Next Level Group and East Coast Accounting. Next Level Group, we originally designed Next Level Group back in January of 2011 to be a permanent staffing agency. Since then, we've evolved and we've gone in a few different divisions and directions to the point where we do permanent staffing throughout North America. We've made placements from, we'll say, Fort Mac to Newfoundland to Hawaii, LA, California. We do a fair bit in the States. The last couple of years, it's petered off a little bit just simply because of the way the market shifted. And then several years ago, we decided to get into more of the temp and contract market. And the biggest reason for us to do that was more for the Atlantic provinces. Not everybody wanted to hire perm for 12 months of the year or for forever. So basically what happens, because we're more of the seasonal provinces, a lot of companies have a need for employees for 8 months of the year or 10 months of the year. So we shifted over to sort of that mentality, but we also wanted to make sure that we left our permanent, our bread and butter intact and whatnot. And then from there, over the last couple of years, we've evolved into a payroll center as well. So we'll finance payroll. So for example, like somebody maybe in the, a new startup or in the fisheries or whatnot, where, they may not see immediate revenue for, a couple of months. Well, we'll do the payroll and we'll finance it for them. So basically we'll find them an employee, could be a temp employee that's going to work, let's say 30, 35, 40 hours a week. And we'll put them on our payroll, we'll pay them, we'll be the record of employer, and then we'll send out one invoice per week when we generate the payroll sort of thing. And that leaves the client with, not having to worry about compensation, additional insurance, worrying about remittances and whatnot, and going through that whole process. So we've really wanted to shift towards eliminating a lot of sort of the pain from some of our clients. Since then, over the last probably 2 years, we have gotten into some marketing as well, through COVID. Unfortunately, for us, on the other hand, we were able to pivot and really focus more on our HR portfolio, creating manuals, operational plans, bringing companies, whether it be from an audit process or from a company standpoint, organizational standpoint, into more of a compliant aspect. So, for example, some clients, maybe they haven't looked at their manual, they paid somebody to do it in 2012, and then, in 2020, they have the same manual, but their business has evolved and gone in many directions. So we'll sit down, we'll evaluate, find holes in it, try to tighten up that gap. And then in some aspects, there may be a few documents that may have to be sent to our clients' lawyers, which they would pick whoever their lawyer is. We would send that off. It would come back and we'd put that assembled into a manual for them. And then we've also, with Jessica here, which has been a great addition, we were able to pivot and do a lot of social media, SEO, marketing and whatnot, and a lot of website portfolio for our clients. So we've been pretty fortunate that way, that like I said, we didn't get caught in the COVID. In fact, we sat back, we took a deep breath, we reevaluated, reassessed our operation and said, how can we pivot and how could we help our local market and whatnot. And we did. We really decided to take more of the small business approach and try to implement and try to help. So, whether it be new startups or smaller businesses with, under 10 employees or whatnot. And that's been our focus the last few months. It's been going well for us. And I say that it's to the point where we need to grow ourselves now, but we don't really know what's going to happen over the next 3 to 6 months. So we're a little timid ourselves, trying to say, do we take that next step and go with it and grow? Or do we hold back and pick and choose maybe some of the work orders that we're working on? So that's a little, we've been in business for, a little over 9 years, and looking forward to our 10-year anniversary this January. Any questions so far? I'm not sure if we lost anybody. But...
Seems like you've gained a few, but
yeah, there we go. Everybody's back. Everybody's back. All right, and over the last couple of years as well, we started up another business as well, more for the small medium businesses in terms of bookkeeping and going the extra mile with East Coast. And again, I don't want to talk too much about accounting and whatnot, but I personally had been burnt a little bit in the past and had a bit of a bad experience. So we shifted and said, let's try to keep more of our business kind of in-house and whatnot. So I guess I have to be careful and tippy-toe around that a little bit, but so that's how we get into the East Coast side as well. So any questions so far? Daniel, anything to add about the HR side? The HR is more your baby, so.
Sure, I guess I can speak a little bit about what we've been doing in the HR side.
Yeah.
In terms of operational plans. That's really what's gotten us in and made like a little bit more of a name for ourselves. Had a few companies be approved of their like various checkups they have to make sure they're COVID-19 ready and whatnot. And just speaking with companies on how they can prepare for the future in case there is something that happens, a second outbreak, or how do you prepare if someone on staff is infected? Like what do you do? Helping companies with that. I guess in terms of the consulting side, we have worked with a company in the States, and we've done some employee manuals as well.
And auditing.
And an audit as well. I think for me, I only just started in March, so this has been, hit the ground running for me, even with COVID-19, because we quickly adapted. It was a lot of work in the HR side, which was really exciting for me. And so yeah, I've only been here since March, but I've enjoyed every moment for sure.
it's a good time.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Do you want to share a little bit more about the payroll side?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
So we, like Andrew said, we started out East Coast Accounting there about a year and a half ago. And through COVID, we've kind of had to change our business plan as well and take in some more things that the community needed, like with funding for, some of the loans and the subsidies and different things, and help people navigate through that so that they could become eligible for whatever program they needed, whether it was through Finance PEI or some of the innovation PEI programs that they had. And then of course, the one everybody loves, the 40,000 loan from the government that you don't have to pay back the full 40. They've changed that now 3 times. And the last bit is kind of bringing in even more businesses where if you didn't have payroll in the past, you only had yourself, you could qualify. But it's a little harder and more paperwork involved than the first 2 loans were. So it's bringing in more, but there's still a long way to go for some of the businesses are still not being touched for having funding, and hopefully the government comes up with more, but we stay in touch and make sure if any of our clients or any people we know qualify with new programs that we're there to help. And we've had the offshoot of some payroll programs too. We're in competition with some of the bigger companies because we provide a personal service and have a hand holding when people need it, and a reference for if they have questions and they need to get answers quickly. We can sometimes respond a little faster than other people, and we're there just to lend a hand in any way that we can.
Perfect.
So that's sort of that in a nutshell.
Yeah. And then did you want to talk about internal payroll that we do as well?
Yeah, we do internal payroll for small businesses because it can be a little bit expensive to use. Like you're trying to do it through some like QuickBooks or some of the other programs. You have to constantly update your program and pay for online. It's sometimes can be not cost effective when you have, say, 1 to 5 or 6 employees. So we have an outside provider that provides us with the payroll service similar to ADP. It's NEBS, and they're deluxe payroll now. A small business can use their services through us, and it's a much cheaper alternative, and it does direct deposit, it does your source deduction, so you don't have to worry about making those payments on time. It's all smooth, and basically you just put the hours in and you're done. They handle everything in the background, whether it's issuing records of employment or T4 summaries at the end to balance everything. They have a process there to help you get what you need without having to spend a lot of money. It's a little more cheaper on the pocketbook for a small business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Any questions so far?
I feel like, no, that's a great introduction to everything you guys do. I love having you folks out for this event today because, well, usually we just have one person in for the coffee chat, but also to have a full group of people and then to have both perspectives from the accounting and the HR side, I think is really awesome and really timely with everything that's been going on. Now might be a good chance for us to go through and introduce everyone else that's in the group here. And then we can kind of chat from there. Any questions folks have for you about what you're doing, how you're adapting and how you can help them out and vice versa. I think that could be pretty good if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
That sounds great.
Sweet. I'll do my introduction really quickly just because I think mostly everyone knows me, but I'm Rachel and I'm the marketing and events coordinator here at the Startup Zone, and I get to bring in lovely folks like you guys all the time. But yeah, I think it's great just to have you folks as a resource. And I mean, yeah, we were chatting at the start of this, how we're going to keep this recorded. We can send it out to our companies, just let them know that you're around. But yeah, I think it's more relevant for you to get to chat with the rest of the people in the group and hear, why they're here and how you might be able to help each other out. So maybe if we want to go into Ashley next, because I know you were here first, and yeah, we'll move on to you.
Hi, I'm Ashley Green. I am a graphic designer, Ashley Green Design, and I am the founder / leader of Empower PEI. So that is basically a Facebook group for business owners, and it's actually ended up being like a lot of people in management as well. So I think your information would pertain to a lot of them. So I wanted to tune in and see what it was all about.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. Mary, if you want to go next with a quick introduction.
Hi, my name is Mary, and I'm actually trying to get a virtual accounting business off the ground. So me and Andrew would be a little bit of competitors. I hope that we'd be able to play nice with each other. I'm still trying to go through some funding, and I'm still trying to go through Skills PEI. And I'm just going through groups like this to see what's out there for a virtual accounting. I know that it's going to be more through like chats like this with customers. And I see that the future is going virtual because with COVID, it's getting harder and harder to meet people in person.
Absolutely.
So this is what I am trying to get out in the market.
That's awesome, Mary. Yeah, I think as far as actually getting a business off the ground in general, maybe you and I should chat. I'll send my email out to the chat too, and we can talk about Startup Zone a bit more. But in terms of accounting,
that's awesome. I'd
that
like to take an appointment with you. And Ashley, thank you for accepting me in the group.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've gotten some nice likes back, and hopefully I can get some market research on Does the economy support a virtual accounting business in today's times? But we can talk about that further.
Awesome. Cool. I guess, Angela, if you're okay with turning your mic on, if you want to do a quick introduction, okay. If not,
Yeah. I'm just kind of listening and working at the same time. Angela McDonald, I have a contract CFO business. I'm one of the companies that works with the startup sound, and I just really saw Rachel's post this morning and decided I was going to jump on.
sweet.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Cool. So yeah, I put my screen into gallery view. If everyone wants to do that too, you can do it up in the top right hand corner. Then you can see everyone. But yeah, I guess Andrew, Darlene, and Daniel, I'll let you folks take it away now that you know kind of where everyone stands, and if there's anywhere where you'd like to talk about more specific stuff, or if anyone has any questions, now's a good time to jump in. It's always awkward to tell people just to make conversation, but that's essentially what I'm doing.
I could ask a question.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So I am I guess some would consider me like a freelance graphic designer. So I have other designers that I like contract work out to, and I'd love at some point to actually have an employee. But I've always been like afraid of doing like the payroll and that whole, I feel like it's opening up like a whole can of worms that I'm just not ready for. Do you guys have any services for helping somebody do that for the first time, and how you would structure that and whatnot?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, Darlene, I'll let you talk about that. That's your specialty, but go ahead.
Yeah, we like helping people. Like when you're small, you wear a lot of hats, right? So if you need a helping hand in helping, to get a person on payroll, understand what your responsibilities are, and to, make sure you're registered with the government to do the source deductions. There is some calculators that you can do on your own, like there's tables on Google, right? You can go on to payrolldeductions.com. It's run by CRA. I find it can't be completely relied on, but it comes close. Like it's within $100 of what the source deductions are throughout the year. So you basically, we could help you understand all that. Understand your remittances have to be done by the following month. So you collect all the money from off of your employee's check. You hold it and then you give it to the government the following month by the 15th usually. And then you have to reconcile that at the end of the year. So we offer like a consulting service where if you don't want to hire us to do the job for you, maybe you're not at that point yet, we do help you along the way. And we offer, our services by phone or in person, and, have a little package for you that, you can have so much of our time, whatever you need. And later on, when your business gets growing, we know that we have built a relationship with you. And then, if you want to use our services in the future, we're available for you as well.
Very cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, and typically, like one of the things too is that when we sit down with people and we go through everything, is we'll give you all the tools to move forward with that function, for example. But at the end of the day, you may look at it and when it comes to remittances and whatnot, some people get it right away and others kind of tend to, you've already done this, you show me, I understand it, but take it, whatnot. Like we basically leave you with information that you can do it on your own. If you choose to go in another direction, that's completely fine. We get it. But also one of the things that you get with our service is if you call us, if you Skype us or Zoom now, I guess, or come and see us, we're here. And we do have a physical location. We are bondable, we are insured. If something happened and we made a mistake, well, it's on us kind of thing. So you do have that reassurance in there as well. So we give you the tools, we train you, here you go. And then also we're here as a guide on the back end to sort of get going after the fact. So we don't just leave you after we see you the first time and say, oh, good luck.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool. It's cool you guys do consulting too. I thought it was more so just that folks could hire you, but it's nice that you kind of kind of do whatever fits best for people. If you folks have contact information that might be best fit for Ash or anyone else in the group, if you want to send that into the chat or just through your website.
Yep, we can certainly do that.
Yeah, sure.
And feel
Cool.
free to
Sounds
join
good.
the Empower PEI group if that interests you at all too.
I'd recommend that too.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
What's that?
It's a great idea.
Good. Yeah, I'd like that.
And yeah, I guess going around the group, Mary, do you have any questions, maybe more around the accounting side and stuff that you'd like to kind of dive into a bit more?
I feel that if I do get into the accounting stuff, I'm going to go against Andrew. And I really, because what Darlene just said is pretty much exactly what I do too. Only I don't have a big company behind me. Like, they're already established. I'm just getting in. So for somebody like Ashley, if she were to go with me, she's just going with me. But if she goes with Andrew, she knows she's got a team. So that's where me and him differ. And I'm just feeling into the market right now. So I really don't want to say much, seeing that Andrew is here. So we're just going to leave it at that.
Oh, don't worry about that, Mary. There's lots to go around. It's
Oh,
a big,
yeah.
it's a big world out there, and I think you're
Always
on the right
community.
track with virtual. And there's a huge need. A lot of accountants are leaving their firms to go virtual on their own. So don't look at it as competitors. And much like yourself, if there's something you need, we're here. And I mean, we're here to help. It's a small island, and we all had to start. I'm a licensed business coach as well. I didn't talk about that, but that's all a part of the process. And it's, don't focus on us, focus on what makes you unique and how you're going to succeed, and focus on your own steps, and you'll do very well.
Thank you.
I would totally agree with that. I'm very much about community over competition.
Oh,
That's
yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's what I want too. I don't want to go in and say, you know what, I'm better. If you go with me, I'm better, because nobody is better and nobody's worse. We all are in the business together, and we should all, help one another. And if there's something that I can do, great. And if there's something I can't do, well, I know I have somebody like Andrew. Well, you know what, I have this client, I'm able to do this, but I'm not able to do that. You want to take her on. So I think that's what it should be about, everyone helping each other and everyone getting together. And it's not about your client or my client. It should be, you know what, how can we make everybody get together, and how can we all succeed?
Yeah.
yes.
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Absolutely. And it's the same thing. We do, we've done a ton of websites through COVID, and some really unique ones. But I know that there was times where Jessica was literally left doing the whole thing, from the graphic design to the design of the website, to the content, to the copywriting, to everything. And it was very stressful for her, to the point where she probably still has another couple of months. But if we would have known, we could have maybe subcontracted a little bit out to you, Ashley, for some graphics. We may have done that, but we really didn't know that was an option too. So,
Yeah,
there's different ways for us to also work this, right? So it's not all about us, it's about working together, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Awesome. I love all these connections so far. That's great. But yeah, definitely community over competition all the time. And it seems like there are lots of great community connections here. So yeah, definitely thanks for joining us, Mary. Angela, I don't know if you have any more questions kind of from that side. Otherwise, I'll just let Andrew, Jarly, and Daniel, you guys keep taking it on from there.
Well, I think from my perspective, I think there is huge collaboration already happening. I have right now way too many clients, and every single one of them has a bookkeeper. So I mean, I'm working with multiple bookkeepers from multiple companies, and coming in just at a level where they're really good at what they do, but maybe they're not skilled in a way to, I don't know, it depends what, right now I'm focused on a whole bunch of crisis planning, but normally I would be focused on growth planning. and maybe the bookkeeper's swamped and they're doing all the data entry, but kind of looking at where should this business be in 5 years and how do we get it there. From a financial perspective is kind of where I step in, and supporting the bookkeeping role, because oftentimes the owners don't even really know what they should be doing on the bookkeeping side. That's why they have a bookkeeper. So I can just, come in and make sure that it all makes sense. But I don't want to be a bookkeeper. So I think, like, in terms of that,
Not everybody likes them, Angela. Not everybody likes it.
but like in terms, and I mean, I've done it. I've paid my dues, but I don't. It's definitely not something I want to do. But from my perspective, like, just already there's so much collaboration in the industry. Like, I have lots of companies, they have a tax accountant. I am not that. They have a bookkeeper. I don't do that. Like, so there's already lots of companies out there that are willing to hire, 4 different people in an accounting role to fill different gaps, because one person cannot do all of those things. And if you have one person doing all of those things, you're probably in trouble. So yeah, like, I don't see a risk in more than one or whatever.
Yeah, I think you brought up an awesome point, Angela. One of the things with us here through COVID, one of the things that we did, and I'll be 100% honest about this and transparent, was, I work with Darlene and Brittany every day, and they work closely with my businesses, and they show me a lot, and they help me out a lot. But one of the things that we all did here, we said, you know what? Through COVID and all of this, are we lean enough? Are we doing what we should be? Should we maybe have an outside person just take a second look? And, we brought in, a large accounting firm just to have a little peek, just to kind of see with our business, are we doing the right things? Are we going about our business the right way? Have we pivoted the right way? Does this make sense for us and whatnot? And it's okay to do that. And I think that in business now, you need people to have second opinions and maybe even a third opinion. And I feel that we're better for that. So it was not a knock on on Darlene or Brittany or my business or anything like that. It's just something we chose to do for us to have a second look from an outside person, because we're attached to our businesses and we love what we do, and we're married to it. So we tend to be a little more sensitive, and sometimes turn a blind eye to things. So it's okay to have an outside opinion. So.
I love it. Sweet. Well, yeah, I think we'll just kind of flip it back to you guys then if there are no more questions for now. And just anything else you kind of wanted to chat around. I know you were talking a lot about how you've adapted during COVID and post-COVID. Just kind of looking forward, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on the entrepreneurial landscape in general from both sides you see, which is the accounting and the HR side. Something we've been talking a lot about lately, but it seems like you folks that have a lot of insight.
Absolutely. Do you want to go, Daniel, or?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think for any business that's starting up, a lot of the times the owner takes on every responsibility. And I think that's where the consulting side, especially for us, comes in, whether it's just the things that you don't want to do or the things that you don't have the time to do, because you want to be able to doing the things that bring your company money and not be stuck in the administrative side of things as well. So for one company specifically, we've been doing kind of their health and safety and stuff as they're trying to open up. They want to be focused more on the stuff that brings them money, because they're an auto body shop, but they don't really have the experience to do like a health and safety plan and be ready to actually open up and pass inspection. Whereas like we can provide that kind of stuff. And that's part of our pivoting process too, is trying to find out what Islanders actually need or want, or what ways we can help Islanders best. And that's been a whole process for us too, trying to reach out to companies and find out where the real need is and what where companies are struggling the most. I don't know if anyone can speak to that and what they've noticed, and because we've come across a bit of employment, people retaining their employees being kind of the hardest thing, trying to find money for that through the government or other means.
Can you give any other examples of issues that you're finding, like common issues that you're finding people running into at this point?
I think maybe not exactly the same issues, but kind of the same concerns that people aren't really ready for what could happen next. Like what happens if one of my staff members gets COVID-19? Like if everyone has to go home, like how do I survive?
Mm-hmm.
Especially companies with franchising fees and whatnot. Like how do I survive if I have to keep paying these fees and stuff like that? And everything is like industry unique. Like I was listening to a group of health officers speaking about what they could do with each industry, and really they're relying on experts in the industry to say like, this is how you can prepare for COVID, because if they have to write something for every industry, that'll take them forever. So they're, especially with our operational plans we're writing, a lot of it is kind of guesswork and figuring things out as we go and talking to people that have more experience and stuff like that, and really collaborating. And I think we're preparing, and it's growing as we go. Like definitely with the borders opening up and things like that, there's been more challenges, but at the same time, there's been more clarity and more sharing of information as well, which I think has been really good.
Mm. That's good.
What else can we speak to?
I don't know if you guys can relate to this. I've done a couple, I have clients that I regularly deal with that have approached me about operational plans. It's not necessarily something that I'm doing for people or want to do for people. It's just kind of something that I've done as a favor to people I already serve. But I've found that a lot of people are wanting to get somebody else to write the operational plan so that there is evidence with their employees of coming on board. Like I know I spoke to one manager of a facility who said like our employees are worried. They don't know if we're doing things properly. I wrote the operational plan and I talked them through it and said, you can do this, this, and this. It makes sense. We all agreed. But I actually had to go out and talk to the employees and explain it to them. And it's not necessarily a distrust of the people running the business, but it makes them feel better that someone from the outside has kind of thought it through, and it makes sense to them as well.
That's a pretty big point.
Yeah, that's a really good.
Yeah.
For sure. Just communicating that understanding, and so that everyone's on the same page, because we're all having these conversations at our home as well about like how are you preparing, and if someone can't answer those questions, it creates a bit more worry. But like the better we can communicate and the more understanding, then there's the less worry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess operational plans in general, that's a really good one to bring up, Angela, because I know a lot of folks around here at the startup zone too, especially people who have employees and who have like brick and mortar shops, or whether it just be like someplace people can go, they are working on those. And I know like kind of changing them. I know we're even like changing ours at the startup zone to include like the bubble, for instance. And I guess like, yeah, just maybe to the three of you, like I know you've all have a lot of connections with entrepreneurs, and is there anything you could recommend like out to our community as far as operational plans go and important things to keep in mind? I'm sure keeping them up to date is probably top of mind for HR things that I don't understand. So I'll let you take that away, Daniel.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is always the social distancing. Like it's the 6 feet seems to be the best way to protect people and whatnot. A lot of the other things like the masks and kind of the dividers and whatnot are there in case the 6 feet can't be maintained and stuff like that. So trying to find because in some industries it's not possible to maintain the 6 feet. depending on like where you're working, like for like say massage therapists and whatnot, or occupational therapists that actually have to come into contact with their clients. So, and that's where masks come in, and that kind of communication, making sure like everything is recorded, like names, and so you can contact people, and also like where you've been and stuff like that. And the more detailed notes you can keep as a business, the better you can protect yourself and your clients too. So yeah, that's what we've been finding is coming up the most for sure.
Yeah.
Are you like recommending that when people come into a store, they sign something so they can be traced or something to that effect?
Well, I guess it depends, like in a grocery store or whatnot, it's impossible basically. But like smaller places that are able to do it, it's definitely a benefit because it helps us communicate quicker and stuff like that.
For sure.
Yeah, I talked to someone yesterday, and they said that the operational plan had a little bit of a benefit they didn't expect. Someone had left their debit card, and they were able to contact the person within 2 hours of leaving their debit card there. So, you know, that's not necessarily what the plan was built for, but it helped them, especially like I pointed out, you know, when someone can run up $50 on these taps, right? It becomes more of an issue. So the fact they had signed in, it benefited them for other reasons as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it is interesting for sure how much so many of the procedures we're taking on during COVID have kind of become normal and don't really remember before you had to sign in everywhere you went. So yeah, it's interesting to hear you guys' perspectives too from folks who deal with a lot of employers. But yeah, no, super interesting, very interesting time. I thought it was really timely that we chatted with you folks and heard from your perspectives. And now we don't have too much longer left. We have about 15 minutes. But I'll let you folks finish it up. Anything else that you wanted to add? And we might have a few last minute questions, but overall it was great to get you out, and yeah, lots of great connections, I think.
Yeah, it's been great to connect because it's, you know, everybody has their own little unique opportunities and uniqueness, and you don't always know where to find the answers to your questions, right? Mm-hmm. So when you hear back from people what their concerns are, it kind of, oh yeah, someone else was worrying about that too, right? So it's kind of nice to kind of get a chance to chat to everybody and get some feedback as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that it comes back to communication as well. Like the more we're communicating and more we're keeping business on islands and whatnot, the more we're equipping ourselves for the future too.
Absolutely, yeah.
So these kind of things are great, awesome chance to connect for sure. Are there any more questions or anything, maybe just thoughts that come to mind?
I'm trying to think of something that's like not necessarily COVID-19 specific. Yeah. Because I feel like you do obviously lots, you've been around for a long time, and like your offerings aren't just, you know, regarding that. But yeah, I know you kind of gave a breakdown at the beginning, but I'm trying to like see like where you guys would fit in with my work, because I need help.
Yeah, well, not to promote ourselves, but we do offer like a 1 hour consultation.
Okay,
so,
cool.
So if and it's free of charge. So if somebody had like some things that they had specific that maybe you don't want to talk about in a public forum, that's maybe more specific to your business or specific to you personally, we do offer a 1 hour consultation. And we have appointments at the office, or we can have it over the phone, wherever your comfort level is, because some people can't leave their homes for whatever reason, in isolation or what have you. But we do have an office here where we have, like, you know, the petitions and stuff that, cool. You know, if you needed to meet one-on-one, we can still do so in a safe manner. But yeah, I mean, basically, if you need help with starting up your books or starting, you know, where to go, even like sometimes people have their sole proprietor and they've always run their business through their own name. Yeah. And then they want to, you know, expand and have a business name. And how does that happen? What do you register for? How do you do that? We offer consulting for all of that. And like I say, we don't necessarily have to do the books for you. I've trained people on QuickBooks so that they can do it themselves, simply whichever program they want to use to kind of help. In my mind, the sooner you keep track of your expenses, the better, because then you know what you can spend in the future, make a budget of what you need. And especially in the early stages of a business, you can overspend without realizing it. And if you keep track of things, don't have a shoebox in the closet and look at it at the end of the year, and your poor bookkeeper has to pull it all out and figure it all out, and then you find out the bad news. You're reactive. You're not proactive, right?
Yes.
And procrastination, I find, is the biggest problem with any task, right? And I have people saying, I'm embarrassed because my books are so bad. And it's like, well, we're all in the same boat together. Right? Like, you know, if you see my car, you open up the glove box and they come flying out at you, right? So, you know, we all do similar things, right?
Yeah, so, like in my situation, I've been in business for just shy of 10 years now, but I still feel like I'm flying by the seat of my pants sometimes. You know what I mean? And like I have a bookkeeper, and I've had her the entire time that I've been in business, but I still feel like I don't have a handle on exactly what I'm doing, and like I'm leaving it up to her, and I'm just trusting that she's getting everything. And then I realized, you know, 10 years into business, that I hadn't been claiming like the interest that I'm paying on loans and stuff. And I'm like, 10 years, how do you get 10 years in and not do that? Like, did you just assume I had no debt? So like there's things like that I know like I'm definitely missing, and I've been wondering if that's because I actually need an accountant, or what that really means. But and then I have people that I contract work out to, but I would love at some point to have an employee, and I'm just not sure like how that growth works, what the next steps are, what that puts me on the hook for, like those kinds of things. I guess all growth-oriented questions more so than anything.
Yeah, and it is a difficult question to answer, when to hire a staff and how to do it. Because when they're your staff, you have workers' compensation as well, right? So there are some other charges. So, I mean, that's something that you could sit together, go over and say, okay, well, this is how much an employee is going to cost you as compared to a subcontract worker. And sometimes too, subcontract workers can be sticky. It's not so bad in this province. I don't know how they check up on it, but in other provinces, I'm originally from Ontario. If that person that you subcontract is not working for another person and just you're hired. So there's all kinds of different things, and you know, you get into HR and that. Yeah. So
very cool. See, like these are things that I just didn't know.
Right. I don't know them all either. That's why we have Daniel.
Normally, like a small business like mine wouldn't have, like, say, an HR department. So it's good to have, you know, a resource out there to reach out to and get those questions answered, for sure.
Yeah, we have a team here. So if I don't know the answer to someone, we have resources where we're building a team of that benefits our clients in whatever way that they need, right? We're constantly learning and trying to do new things. And we've also reached out to people in the community as well. So, you know, if there's another small business that we can support, we'll certainly do referrals and do that as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Oh, no, I'm really glad to have met you. I have a feeling I will be using that 1 hour consult.
There you go.
No, that's awesome.
Did you have anything else to add? Okay.
Yeah, just we do offer like full business solutions, and that's kind of what Andrew, as a business coach, he's learned a lot over his years coaching businesses and trying to get to them before they kind of make any of those bigger mistakes that are harder to get through. Oftentimes people go for help when they're a bit in over their heads. So trying to get the information out there so we can reach people before they really need us, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I think that's good.
Yeah. And I think that's why we enjoy working here as well, is because we get the chance to help people and actually make an impact on people's lives and their business.
Definitely.
Someone's business is, you know, their passion and their love. So.
Yeah, it's like my businesses are my children.
Exactly. Yes.
Some
On
people.
the HR side, do you guys predominantly do recruiting or do you do HR consulting in terms of like contract review, blah, 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 policies and everything else?
Yeah, we do policy review kind of. We can also write policies as well. Health and safety is a big thing right now that we're doing, whether it's creating. But yeah, we've done audits like ethical trade audits in the States as well. So just making sure that they will pass the audit.
Yeah.
Their employee manual makes sense and their practices all make sense as well. So yeah, we cover pretty much everything. If it's something I can't do, we also have other HR professionals on staff that have more experience than me. So.
Very cool.
Awesome, sweet. No, this has been really cool. It's a small crowd, but sometimes that's best. It seems like all you folks are gonna get connected, and Mary, you and I are gonna connect after this.
Yes, we are.
Awesome, sweet.
And
No, it was great to-
Angela, I look forward to talking to you as well.
That's awesome, sweet. And Angela's actually one of our specialists at the Startup Zone. So Mary, when you and I chat, we can talk more about that too. But yeah, this has been awesome. Any final thoughts from anyone before we wrap up? Let everyone go get some lunch if you haven't already.
No, I think we covered everything today, and it was great to talk with you all.
Yeah.
And thank you for the opportunity.
It's nice to meet you guys.
Awesome. Thanks for coming out. This was great. Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.